On that?
Actually.
Huh? Well, and once it's been a long quarter in some ways, in other ways, it really kind of flew by, actually. All right, so you guys doing good on that? Take this down. We'll finish up chapter 10.
We're on chapter 10. I've been
Or
doing
chapter 9, sure, chapter 9. Okay, now, on your receivables, there's a couple ways, see, I'm going to trim this around right here, so thank you. I'm sorry to disturb you guys so often, but let me just do this. So as far as your receivable goes, you of course can just collect them on your own, right? Or, in many cases, you would really want your money before it's due. So you can sell your receivables, okay? This is called factoring. So what happens on this thing is the factoring company will buy your accounts receivable, and they will of course pay you less than their value. Then they collect from your customers, and the difference between what they collect and what they pay you is their profit. Okay? And then you can pledge them. And of course, what that means is it's collateral for a loan. The trouble is, when you have a loan, when you have a secured loan, there's always an extra expense. Because in this case, we're talking about your accounts receivable. So you have to pay somebody to go through your accounts receivable and see if they're really, if they're worth using as collateral. So whenever you pledge your receivables, when you ever borrow against them, there is an additional expense because they have to be evaluated. And that's true in any asset that you use for collateral, accounts receivable included. So that's it, but you can use them as collateral for a loan that does have an additional expense. The ratio in this chapter is the accounts receivable turnover. I'm going to write A/R turnover. And in this case, it's net sales divided by average accounts receivable. And it's net, okay? And the average accounts receivable, of course, so you guys remember, with an average, when the denominator is an average like this, you take the accounts receivable at the beginning of the year, end of the year, add them together and divide by 2. And when it says net, that means you've subtracted the allowance for doubtful accounts. So what it is you take so net means you've taken out the allowance for doubtful accounts. It's the net realizable value, okay? So you average the accounts receivable, average the net accounts receivable, the net realizable value, go into net sales. And of course what this does is this tells you how well you're keeping on top of your collections, okay? So you can compare it to your industry, you can compare it to your business plan, and of course some businesses only lend money to honest people. 30 days is what they expect. Other people have a very liberal, other companies have a very liberal policy, hope their people get behind so they can make their money off the late fees, okay? So whatever you come up with has to be interpreted in terms of your situation. Now, let me check in with you guys. How's everybody doing? Doing good? All right, let's do this. Let's stop this, because this will end chapter 9. And then